What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Actually Good Coffee podcast, the show where I record this podcast. Hold on, my mom's calling me. The show where I record this podcast inside of my car because that's the only place where there's good audio, but I also look like a complete psychopath to my neighbors who are just coming home from work. Last week, we sold 805 pounds of coffee total. If we're looking at the same week last year, we sold 619 pounds. It's almost a 200-pound increase from the year previously. Love it! Today, I want to talk about the new Starbucks CEO. This comes from an article by Sarah Charles from Coffee Intelligence. This podcast should just be called the Sarah Charles podcast because we go off of so many articles that she posts. But this talks about the new Starbucks CEO that was just announced. It is the fourth Starbucks CEO to be hired within the past 2 years in light of their recent downturn in sales and also market value. The hope is that Brian Niccol is the savior for this industry. Starbucks is the most popular coffee chain in the world, so this is also going to get into any oncoming coffee trends. So, Brian Niccol is the new CEO of Starbucks, previously from Chipotle and Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. When this was announced, Starbucks shares actually jumped 24.5% or $21.4 billion in one day. Predictions show Starbucks stock could be more than double under its new CEO, with some media sources calling him the messiah Starbucks has been looking for. So the last business that Brian Niccol was the CEO for, and I believe still is, because the contract that he was offered is actually a work from home position, and I believe he does also have the opportunity to continue to work with Chipotle while performing his new role at Starbucks. But since coming on to Chipotle, sales doubled and the market value increased from 9 to 70 billion. People have stated he will hit the ground running. The first area that he looks to tackle is the digital ordering system. 1/3 of Starbucks' total transactions are actually made through the app. This has actually led to unreliable wait times and congestion with its stores. Howard Schultz, the founder, well, not founder, but essentially the founder, when Howard Schultz took over Starbucks, I believe there's only one location, he believes that mobile orders have actually led to the downturn in sales and will ultimately lead to the downfall. The prediction is that Brian will actually fix this issue, considering he has done the same with Chipotle. He added an entirely separate kitchen to focus solely on online orders, as well as a whole new computer system. For drive-through Chipotles, they added Chipotle lanes, or online ordering only drive-through lanes. They've also added shelving next to registers, as well as a description of how online orderers can get their meals from the store if they are ordering online. But there are some counter arguments to Brian Niccol's work that will be established. This could ruin the Starbucks model in where it's supposed to be a third place culture campaigned by former CEO Howard Schultz. The goal was to market Starbucks as a community gathering place away from home and work. Howard Schultz is also concerned Starbucks puts too much pressure on mobile orders. Schultz believes in Brian's ability to not change, but instead amplify the brand. One of the references is to Taco Bell's Doritos Locos Tacos, which Brian helped roll out during his time there as CEO. If you're not familiar, the Taco Bell's Doritos Locos Tacos is like their flagship item. I'd be curious to see what these statistics are on Taco Bell's consumer base and what percentage of them actually go just for the Doritos Locos Tacos. Stores like Dunkin' Donuts and McCafe took a huge chunk out of the coffee market, considering that they offer very similar products at much lower price points. Sarah Charles writes, "It's no longer clear whether Starbucks wants to be seen as a high-end cafe, a casual lunch spot, or something else entirely. This confusion has led to operational inefficiencies and diluted the brand's once clear market positioning." This has been an ongoing problem. If you haven't been to a Starbucks recently, as impressive of a brand as it is, they've been dealing with a lot of issues with unions, labor shortages, the congestion that the mobile orders have caused within the stores. It makes it difficult to continue this third place idea that Howard Schultz had in place one day, because it's not comfortable to go here and spend time with friends anymore. It's not a comfortable place to go and work if you're just trying to get out of the house or out of the office. It's a much different brand than it was even 4 or 5 years ago, pre-COVID. Darlene Schreier, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, founder of Black Sheep, states, "The race to the bottom in quality and service is exactly what's wrong with corporate coffee today. If Starbucks starts pushing assembly line coffee and cutting corners on ingredients or worker training, they risk alienating the very customers who made them successful. I agree with Darlene on that idea, but I think Starbucks is already at that point. I don't know if I don't believe there's going to be a revitalization of the Starbucks third place culture anymore. Unfortunately, it's a completely different market now. If you ask anyone who actually drinks coffee where they go to maybe get some work done or just spend time with friends, I doubt they're going to say it's a Starbucks. It's going to be their local coffee shop where they know the coffee's better, the atmosphere is more welcoming. Starbucks is the kind of place that you go to when you're in an unfamiliar area if you don't know any good coffee shops around. But now with the accessibility of so many different tools, especially social media, it's not difficult to find a half-decent coffee shop that you know you're not going to be bothered at to a degree, as much as you would at a Starbucks location. If you're asking me, I think this is a smart play for Starbucks. I think there's no doubt that they're going to start transitioning over into a faster model. You have to remember, Starbucks is the leading brand for the coffee industry, and if there's going to be anyone that takes on a faster, quicker, easier model that consumers can adapt to, it's going to be Starbucks, which is why I believe a brand like Eversys is more crucial than ever right now. If you don't know, we've talked about this before, but Eversys is the leading brand that is in the coffee machine manufacturing market that's leading the charge on automated coffee. A lot of professionals in the industry have stated just how reliable Eversys machines are and how the quality really is there even with such an automated interface. I have a friend that works with Eversys. He stated just how so many different startup brands are trying to create software integrated with Eversys to even streamline this process more. Starbucks has the capital to spearhead that market completely. They have the people on their team to do just what all these startup companies are trying to do now. I think they can really streamline this entire process through their stores. It's going to happen. I'll call it right now, actually. But in doing that, I think there's going to be an even bigger market open for the third place coffee shop. I don't think that idea is going to just disappear altogether. There's still going to be a huge need for community, for locals to gather together and meet up with friends, maybe do their work that's not from home because that gets boring after a while. And I think a lot of smaller coffee shops can take advantage of that model, especially now that Starbucks looks to be transitioning over into this very streamlined automated machine. Howard Schultz believes that Brian Niccol can still a reliable blend of the two ideas, whether it's a third place location and also very automated. I think that Brian Niccol is just going to take advantage of automation within the coffee industry completely and look to better their profits as much as possible. Starbucks is at the point now where shareholders are they're upset. They've seen the performance of the stores recently. The market share has dropped significantly. They want to see improvements. They want to see better profits. And Starbucks is going to look to do just that. So thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. And I will talk to you again very soon.